Hey, welcome to the Smudcast, where I urge you to never deter from your process. I want to talk about our minds, specifically the sponginess of our minds. Almost everyone has heard of the saying, "We are what we eat." That saying is most true in our youth, because our personality, our likes and dislikes, or at least the foundation of it, is being defined and discovered in that period. We're gathering information and traits through what we see, hear, feel, overall, what we experience through this period of personality building. And of course, not everything that we experience are positive or beneficial, which makes this a very sensitive and dangerous period for us. It's in this period where traumas, negative habits are initially discovered or created. Though this isn't the only period where toxic traits and ways of thinking are found or, created. But it's in our youth that makes such things more solid and defined and almost permanent in the long run. And the older you get, the harder it will be to teach yourself new tricks or just change in general. The more developed our minds get through the years of childhood and adulthood, the more hardened our mind gets and the more difficult it'll be to redefine ourselves in a different light. Psychologically speaking, our minds stop developing once we reach the age of 25. And that doesn't mean it's game over once you hit that age. It's never too late to change yourself, but the longer you wait, the more difficult it'll be to accomplish it. And it'll be especially difficult once you reach age 25. And if you already reached this age, or already past it, I'm not trying to discourage you. I want you to know what you're up against. Because habits and traits that are already well defined, which by then it will be, but habits and traits, especially negative and unhealthy ones that were the product of trauma or just experiences that misguided you to an unfavorable conclusion, will need to be specifically handled with time, consistency, and care. The same also applies to when you're still in the years of development, but more effort will have to be made once your development presses its brakes. And over time, you'll feel that the older you get, the more stubborn your habits and traits become. So if you're still in the stages of development, I urge you to pick yourself up and get yourself together while you're still figuring things out, while it's still at its easiest. Though, of course, it will still be a tasking assignment, but understand that nothing comes easy no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter where you're at. So with that being said, I urge you to put your foot out there while the opportunity is still ripe and more accessible to you. But if your development has already come to a halt, then I urge you to start setting small goals for yourself. And it does not matter how small or how big those goals are. It also doesn't matter the time it takes to reach them. Though whether it's a short-term or a long-term goal should be specified and distinguished for the sake of managing your time as well as your consistency and effort towards said goals. And since this will be a time where changing will be, especially difficult, you must acquire the motivation and the passion to redefine and change yourself. If you don't have the solid will to change, then the fruit of your labor will be slim, if anything at all. To change is to understand that it's not going to be a walk in the park. To change is to understand that changing isn't easy. And this also applies to those who are still in the stages of development. Like I said, it does not matter what stage you're in. It needs to happen, whether it's through short-term or long-term goals. Goals needs to be set. Plans needs to be made to attain greatness. But as I was saying, if you are unable to acquire the resolve to make yourself into someone that could only be described as a dream come true, and the resolve can come about in a variety of ways and scenarios, But if you're unable to give yourself a why, a reason to change, then you will not be able to acquire the results that you desire and deserve. Whatever you want in life, whatever position that you want to put yourself in, it will take a good fight to make it into a reality. And if you are unable to fight for it, because everything takes a good fight, but if you're unable to fight for it, then you will lose the battle, the war for success in life. And I can't stress that enough, that only you make the definitive decision to change yourself. Because it doesn't matter what stage of development you may be in, a first step will always be what it takes to begin your process. A process of trial and error, a process of discovery and self-reflection, a process that will take time and can't be rushed, but a process that is needed and will undoubtedly save your life. So as always, I urge you to never deter from this process, your process, a process that will help you build a new foundation and a blueprint to your success. This is the Smudcast, and thank you so much for listening.